If you're trying to learn Claude Cowork and it feels like everyone's speaking a different language with words like skills, connectors, subagent, MCP, plugins, and it feels overwhelming, that's completely normal because you just don't have the vocabulary yet. That's the only thing that separates from someone using Claude Cowork as a power user from someone who opens it and don't know where to start. Not technical skill, not experience, just the right foundation. In this video, I'm going to break down every core concept of Claude Cowork one by one with an easy to understand analogy for each one so that it actually sticks. And by the end of this video, you will understand all the necessary concepts, and every Claude Cowork tutorial you watch afterwards will make complete sense. So let's get right into it. So let's talk about the 24 Claude Cowork concepts that every beginner needs to know. The first concept, we have context window. So the context window is basically everything Claude can see in a single conversation. Your messages, your responses, your uploaded files, or any other instructions. And you can think of context window as like a whiteboard in the meeting room. Everything that's written on the board is what Claude can work with. When the meeting ends, the board gets erased, and Claude will start fresh with a clean slate. So that's the concept of the context window. The next concept we're going to talk about is tokens limit. So tokens are basically the language of AI models, including Claude. It uses tokens to measure text, and every context window has a token limit. When you hit it, Claude can no longer see the earlier parts of your conversation. So you can think of this as like the whiteboard can only hold so much writing, and as you add more information, the oldest note starts to get erased to make room. And eventually you hit a wall and you have to start a new board. So that's the concept of the token limits. The next one we have conversation history. So conversation history is what Claude remembers within a single chat session. It sees everything said so far in that conversation. But once you close the chat and start a new one, that history is gone. So that's similar to talking to someone at a coffee shop. They remember everything from today's conversation, but if you come back tomorrow, they don't recall a thing you discussed. So concept number 4 is memory. So memory is Claude's way of carrying information across sessions. It stores notes about you, your preferences, your businesses, and also your context. So Claude doesn't start from zero every time you open a new chat. That's similar to like a notebook your assistant keeps about you. Even if they forget the conversations, the notebook has all the key facts, your name, your goals, and also how you like to work. Concept number 5 is a workspace folder. The workspace folder is a folder on your computer that Cowork can read from and write to. It's the first thing you set up when you start working in Cowork. Everything Cowork creates or references lives there. So this is similar to giving an assistant a filing cabinet with a key. That's the one place they can go to find your documents, save new work, and keep everything organized. And they don't touch anything outside of it. So concept number 6 is Claude.MD. So Claude.MD is a plain text file inside of your workspace that Claude reads at the start of every chat. It's where you write project-specific instructions, your rules, preferences, and also context for that specific project. So this is similar to having a briefing document you hand to a new hire on their first day. Before they do anything, they read it. It tells them what the project is, how things work, and what to avoid. The next concept is global instructions. So global instructions are preferences and rules that apply to every Claude session, across every project. You set it once and Claude follows it everywhere. Your tone, your formatting, your non-negotiables. So this is similar to having an employee handbook for your whole company, not just one department. No matter which project Claude is on, the global instructions always apply. So next we have projects. So projects are the separate workspaces inside of Cowork. Each one has its own memory, instructions, and context. You can use one project for your YouTube channel, another one for your client work, and they never bleed into each other. So your work in different projects can always stay organized. So this is like having a different notebook for each area of your life. Your YouTube ideas don't mix with your client notes, and each notebook has its own rules, its own context, its own world. So next we have model selection. So Cowork can run on different Claude models. Haiku, which is the cheapest and the fastest one, Sonnet, which is balanced and best for most tasks, and Opus, which is the most powerful and most expensive one. So picking the right model saves you time and money. So this is like choosing between a scooter, a car, or a truck. The scooter is fast and cheaper for shorter trips, the car handles most things, and the truck can handle heavy loads. So the next concept is multimodal. So this means Claude can process more than just text. They can drop in an image, a screenshot, a PDF, a chart, and Claude can read and reason about all of it, not just the words you type. So this is like hiring someone who can read documents, look at photos, analyze charts, and not just read your emails. Some AI only reads text, but Claude Cowork can take in the whole picture. The next concept we're going to talk about is web search. So this lets Cowork pull information live on the internet on demand. Claude's built-in knowledge has a cutoff date, so the web search is how it goes beyond that and can get you current real-world data. So Claude's built-in knowledge is like a textbook. It's accurate, but it's not up to date in real time. So web search is like giving Claude a phone in order to look things up, and it can check today's news, prices, or any type of research. The next one, we have extended thinking. So this is a mode where Claude slows down and works through hard problems step by step before answering. So this is how you can get better results for more complex tasks, but it takes longer and uses more tokens. So this is like asking someone to sleep on a hard decision versus answering off the top of the head. The slow answer is usually better. So you can use extended thinking when accuracy matters more than speed. The next one, we have artifacts. So artifacts are outputs that go beyond just plain text. You can think dashboards, HTML pages, slide decks, spreadsheets, and even code files that Claude creates as actual usable files, not just words in a chat. So most AI gives you advice. Artifacts are the actual deliverable, like getting a finished report instead of just tips on how to write one. Claude doesn't just describe the dashboard, it can build it. So next we have Bash tool. So this lets Cowork actually run code on your computer, not just write it. It can execute commands, install software, move files, and trigger real actions in your operating system. So most AI tells you what to type into the terminal. The Bash tool means that Claude can type it for you and runs it. It goes from giving directions to actually grabbing the wheel. The next one, we have skills. So skills are pre-written workflows that can turn a complex multi-step task into a single command. Instead of having to explain what you want every time, you can build a workflow once and run it on repeat. So this is similar to having a recipe saved in your cookbook. Instead of figuring out the steps from scratch every time you cook, you can open the recipe and follow it. The next concept, we have slash commands. So slash commands are the trigger words that fire a skill. So for example, you can type in slash summarize, slash draft, or whatever you name your skill, and Cowork runs the full workflow behind it instantly. So this is like having a speed dial on your phone. Instead of having to dial 10 digits, you can press just one button and it calls the right person. So slash commands are the shortcut that launches the whole workflow in one keystroke. The next concept, we have plugins. So plugins are basically bundles of pre-built skills you install in one click. So instead of building workflows from scratch, a plugin gives you a full set of related skills that are ready to use immediately. So this is like installing an app on your phone. You don't build the features yourself, you just tap install and suddenly you have a whole toolkit ready to go. So just one click and you have multiple skills unlocked. Next one, we have MCP. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, which is the standard that lets Claude connect to external tools and apps. It is what makes connectors like Gmail or Slack or any other tools or apps you use actually work in Cowork. So MCP is like a universal power adapter for AI. Without it, Claude cannot plug into your apps. With it, any apps that supports MCP can connect to Claude. So next one, we have connectors. So connectors are the bridges between Cowork and your everyday apps, such as Gmail, Slack, Google Drive, ClickUp, and more. And once connected, Claude can read from and act inside of your tools on your behalf. So that's like giving your assistant access to your email, calendar, and your project board. They don't just advise you, they can actually go in, check your inbox, and take action inside the tools you already use. The next concept is Chrome extension. So the Claude Chrome extension lets Cowork control your browser directly. It can fill out forms, click buttons, navigate pages, or scrape any content. It turns your browser into something Claude can actually use itself. It's like having someone else sit at your keyboard and browse for you. They can open tabs, fill in forms, click submit. So all the tedious browser work you normally do yourself, it could be handled automatically. So concept 21 is computer use. So computer use goes beyond just the browser. Cowork can control your entire desktop, switching apps, opening files, and clicking through any program on your computer, not just Chrome. So with computer use, Claude can actually use every app, every window, every tool on your machine, as long as you give it permission to. The next one, we have scheduled task. So scheduled tasks let you set skills to run automatically, either daily, weekly, or at a specific time. It's similar to setting a recurring alarm, except for instead of waking you up, it wakes Claude up to do the work. You can think of your weekly reports, your daily summary, or your Monday morning brief. They all can be run without you touching anything. The next one we're going to talk about is dispatch mode. So this lets you control your cowork on your desktop from your phone. You basically can send your commands on the go, and Cowork can execute them on your computer back at home or in your office. So this is like texting your home computer from across town. And let's say you're at the gym, you can send a message to Cowork, and your desktop will wake up and start executing. The last concept we're going to talk about is sub-agents. So sub-agents are basically just multiple Claude instances working simultaneously on different parts of a task. For example, you have one researches, one writes, one edits, all in parallel. It's how Cowork can tackle large, complex projects at scale. So this is similar to managing a team instead of doing everything yourself. One person can research, one writes, one proofreads, and all happening at the same time. So sub-agents are how you go from solo operator to running a full AI team. So that was the 24 Claude Cowork concepts that every beginner should know. If this video was helpful, consider subscribing as I post often about Claude Code and Claude Cowork. Any questions, let me know in the comments below, and hope to see you in the next one.